Hi and welcome to The Wrap, a quick look at the week that was. I'm Diana Dorahy. Well, what a week it was here at Next Chapter Raise. We co-hosted the Next Chapter Raise by Cartier Ask Me Anything Zoom call session. It was very well received by our members and friends, and there were some excellent questions. At the end of the wrap, I'm going to follow up about the Cartier Women's Initiative too, so stand by for that. Our first member also joined us on the podcast this week. Alex Lamb, founder of Lanterne Rouge, had lots of helpful tips about working with investors, including these. She said building a trusted relationship with an investor is absolutely key. So you've got to focus on A, those who trust in your business and your team, really important. Plus those that trust that you know your customers, and also provide you with business development introductions. That's how you build a good investor relationship. If you want to hear more from Alex, tune in to our podcast. She was on earlier this week. Plus, our strategy lead, Amanda Williams, featured on a Startup Grind panel comparing investment trends across the regions. We talked about Europe and Asia and, of course, the United States. It was a really interesting discussion, and Amanda talked about how cross-country and virtual investment actually creates more trust in the founder by the investor, and therefore, opens up more investment opportunities in different countries. And this discussion is particularly interesting when we look at funding news this week. The MOM project, if I'm using an American accent, a Chicago startup that focuses on connecting women, including parents, with jobs from organizations specifically open to employing people who meet that profile, has announced a $25 million round of funding to expand its business. It did another raise, I think its first raise 2 years ago, and for $8 million, and since then they've grown to something like 275,000 users. But the point is here that there are similar businesses, similar startups in Asia and Australia that offer a similar service, but haven't raised nearly as much capital. And I guess the question is, why are we not seeing that same level of investment in Asia? Tell us what you think. My story of the week this week goes to Lululemon, who's announced it's acquiring fitness company Mirror for $500 million. It's a big splash of cash for the high-end yoga wear maker, and I guess it follows this booming demand for home workout classes because of the coronavirus lockdown. So Lululemon actually invested in Mirror when it launched back in 2018 and is now acquiring the company. Just to get a bit of insight into Mirror, they've reached over 100 million in revenue this year, and the monitors which go on the wall as a mirror, as the name suggests, they cost around $1,500, and then there are monthly subscriptions for live workout classes. So a really interesting acquisition there, and let's see what else develops as a result of this new trend for at-home workouts. My tip of the week this week comes from Caterina Meloni, the founder of Connecting Founders, which is based in Bangkok. It's a capital advisory firm that works with female founders across the region. And she says, look, when it comes to valuation, it's not just about having a number in mind. As a founder, you have to be able to justify why that number is reasonable and also substantiate it. Second, a funding plan isn't a one-off. You have to think about this as a long-term game. Plus, and this is important, don't palm off the fine print to your capital advisor. You have to be able to go deep into the term sheet and investor agreement yourself. After all, you're the one applying and you're the one signing. Read more tips from Katerina on our blog this week. She is our Spotlight founder. Coming up next week on Next Chapter Raise, we have part 2 in our July Masterclass series. Plus, we're also going to host a Cartier implementation hour for our members to go through the application process in more detail. And we have very exciting news. Gail Wong from Her Capital on the podcast to talk about all things VC. Have a great weekend and see you next time on The Wrap.